indicators that we track for consumption. One of them is looking at internet search activity or social media, and we haven't seen any
intraday review, shall we say, mid-afternoon. It's currently 12:05 on European markets. Okay, so basically, where are we? Basically, from a fundamental point of view or perspective, the Shanghai obviously surged overnight up to almost 2.25% based on more stimulus talk with regards to the Premier over the weekend, stating that he's going to stabilize the actual downturn. Nikkei was more or less flat overnight, basically minus 0.04%. Again, the BOJ is on tap overnight, so that's going to be interesting as to what happens there. Okay, the Hang Seng obviously higher as well, so China overall higher, so that negated the bearish close to a large extent with regards to US markets. As we know, the US markets are down on Friday and obviously closed negative, so that certainly negated that fact. And we do have the actual S&P futures now currently trading at the 60 mark. So if you look at the S&P 500, we obviously made a base, and I've covered this as well. I did explain to you in my weekend video that the FTSE and the S&P 500 would bounce, and that's exactly what's occurred. The gap fill level, watch out, is going to be 2065, 2066, which again I have obviously highlighted, and I did explain that would be your potentially first target on the S&P 500. We've already obviously approached 2060, so obviously we're almost there now. This 2065 region will certainly be acting as solid resistance. Obviously once that gets cleared, then you are looking at potential 2080 to be closed as well. As you all know, the FOMC or the Fed is certainly back on the hill from Tuesday onwards, so that's going to be very interesting as to with regards to the word patience. Now, you also know my analysis on the US dollar index. I did explain to you over the weekend I expect the dollar to fall, and the main driver would be the USD CHF, which, as you all know, is in a potentially bearish obviously juncture. You can see there's a H&S formation here on a 10-minute chart. Daily chart, obviously you already know, we're revisiting the crime scene. We have this bearish formation here. Obviously you can see this bearish or bear flag scenario, should I say. So this is obviously indicating lower, and so the US dollar is certainly on the verge of falling, especially with regards to the USD CHF, and that obviously in turn will inflate the US markets higher, and that 2065 target will certainly be hit. Okay, so the euro obviously has rallied overnight. My Kiwi long certainly did me proud. Managed to nail 42 points overnight, with the Shanghai obviously going higher, so that's good news. As you already know from my fundamental service, which is my swing trading service, which I offer for free. I don't charge like the live or day trading service, which is a live analysis service. As you already know, I'm swing long Nasdaq from 4300, so currently 25 points in that, up 25, and I'm swing long the Kiwi, obviously currently up around 50 points in that. So certainly those two swing trades are going okay, so far so good. So for those of you that want to be added on this service, all you need to do is fire me an email, daytrader@intermarketanalysis.com, and obviously I'll add you to the actual WhatsApp service, and obviously, or alternatively, you can just keep following the updates on here and posting the trades with stop losses, etc., with regards to swing trades. Okay, folks, so that's basically the situation there. Okay, so now where are we in terms of fundamentals? As I stated, the Shanghai is higher overnight, so that's good news. Okay, the FTSE itself has certainly been moving higher this morning. Okay, the DAX has obviously exceeded the, currently up by 0.5%. The DAX has actually exceeded the 12,000 barrier, so that's potentially a bullish signal, obviously, as we all know. So certainly a bullish signal with regards to going forward. The CAC and the Deutsch and the Euro stocks are certainly all looking very bullish. The IBEX, Athens, MySex, certainly all into the strong territory. Okay, so what happens from here now? Okay, so the news flow this morning, let's think. Okay, so news flow this morning has generally been of the positive nature, because we do know where Mr. Putin is now. He's certainly come out the closet. Okay, not in a negative way, I'm just saying, just being sarcastic. Okay, so we have Mr. Putin confirmed, so that should obviously cause markets to relax. The dollar index should certainly start to come off further, because the uncertainty and fear has been removed. Okay, so we are looking at the There was some data overnight with regards to the UK in terms of house prices and shops obviously being reduced by 2/3 or 1/3. So again, that's slightly negative nature. The dollar index, like I said, is going to move lower. That should help commodities in general, although oil prices did fall below the $44 level, obviously before recovering. The US dollar certainly helped from that perspective. Now we are waiting for the US data to come out. We have USD Empire manufacturing data, industrial production data, and capacity utilization data, and housing market data as well. So that should be quite interesting. We have a QE announcement, which is around 2:45, and then we have Mr. Draghi, who speaks in Frankfurt at around 6:45, and then we also have Lawton Schlegel speaking at around 7:10. So watch out for those obviously announcements, and obviously the US data that should be coming out very shortly in the next 30 to 60 minutes. So those two, the data within the next 30 to 60 minutes will be important out of the US. That should dictate the movement in the dollar, and like I said, my bias remains short on the US dollar. Okay. Now in terms of technicals, let's just try and assess in terms of technicals. Okay, so the German DAX is certainly very, very bullish right now. Certainly has pushed higher. As you can see, this is a 10-minute chart. We obviously gapped and we went. We gapped higher and we went. So gap and go, as you all know, with regards to the gap analysis theory. So the gap higher was justified given the fact that the Chinese markets obviously were bullish overnight. Okay, so certainly very, very impressive. Even though the euro certainly pushed higher, I did mention over the weekend either we go sideways or we potentially push higher. Okay, if obviously the euro were to go lower, should we say higher? Sorry, and I did explain the fact that if the euro starts to push higher quite substantially, then that will certainly hurt Europe, and I did expect the UK and US to outshine Europe. But that hasn't been the case this morning. Europe certainly continues to outshine the US and the UK, even though we have had the Dow bounce back and the S&P 500 bounce back quite substantially. It's irrelevant. The German DAX has powered past 12,000. It's the fact that, or the theory over the weekend that I proposed that the euro will start to rise, which it has, would hold a 1.05 handle, which it has, and that would obviously cause the European markets to be sluggish compared to its peers, and it will allow the peers to catch up and certainly gain some ground, and that obviously hasn't been the situation. So again, I have to respect the German DAX and respect the tape. If it's bullish, it's bullish. I have taken 2 trades on the FTSE and the Euro stocks this morning on the long side. Managed to get plus 30, so plus 72 points today. So today's a good trading day. Let's see how the week obviously continues. Now you do have an unfilled gap below on the German DAX at 11,900, so I'd certainly be cautious with regards to any potential bearish catalyst, and obviously the main one I've already highlighted is a higher euro or a stronger euro, obviously causing the reversing the positive effects of a cheap euro. Okay, so that's going to be very interesting going forward. So a 10-minute chart with regards to the German DAX. 60 minutes, like I said, higher highs and higher lows. No argument there for a potential pullback. And the daily chart, I did explain that we had a hanging man, so one needs to exercise extreme caution. But given the fact that China obviously is higher, and that certainly sent the German DAX higher, regardless of the weaker euro, okay, or stronger euro, should I say? Okay, so that's certainly bullish from a German DAX's perspective. Let's have a look at the FTSE 100. The FTSE 100 at the moment, like I said, we have a higher low. I did highlight the fact that we had a higher low. We had a bullish engulfing candle, and would certainly start to push higher up to 6,800 level, being the next target. Now let's go to the 10-minute chart of the FTSE 100. We certainly have broken out of the bearish channel, which I highlighted over the weekend, and I expected over the weekend. We have obviously held this resistance up here at around the 6,780 region, so that certainly needs to be respected for now. Okay, and that's when I exited the market. And we are obviously holding that as key resistance for now. The market has certainly pushed back, and we'll see how the market transpires. These are the very important levels for the interim: 6,785, 6,798, and 6,765 for the FTSE 100. Is there a pattern that I can see on the FTSE at the moment that's potentially bullish? Yes and no. More sideways price action, to be honest. And again, it will be the US markets that will dictate. We are approaching the 2065 resistance on the S&P, so that means that one needs to exercise caution with regards to the FTSE 100 going forward. Okay, that's going to be an interesting insight there. Okay, So the FTSE 100 certainly remains into neutral territory now. We have got quite a substantial, obviously, a move, a short squeeze higher. It has been impressive this morning for the FTSE itself. From the 6730, 6740 level, we've gone to 6780. But again, watch out for 6780 and 6800 resistance as well. Now the daily chart is a bear flag, so one, regardless of whether you want to be bullish here with regards to Shanghai, obviously pushing higher, one needs to exercise extreme caution in a daily candle. Ideally, from a trading perspective, you do want the upper candle of 6875 to be taken out and negated, and then obviously you can start to certainly obviously incline towards a very bullish move with regards to the FTSE. My current bias on the FTSE at present is bullish, potentially up to the 6780 and 6800, and then thereafter I need to exercise extreme caution. But for now, I've played my my trade and I've exited for now. I am currently flat on the market, except with those swing trades I've mentioned. Okay, and obviously my bias on the dollar does certainly remain bearish until then, which should technically cause me to be bullish on the FTSE as well. But I think I'll wait for the US data to come out. I have called it a day in terms of trading, but if I see an opportunity on the US markets with data indicating the US markets are going to go higher, which in turn should push the FTSE 100 higher as well. So it's all about the US dollar for now and how US markets trade as well. We need to see a potential pivot low and a push high in US markets to certainly start to get some reassurance with regards to the FTSE 100. Okay. The French CAC, I can go over the French CAC for us as well. Before we do, just need to highlight the FTSE 350. From a daily chart perspective, one needs to realize again it's a bear flag. Also, with regards to it being a bear flag, one needs to understand and appreciate that we do have a H&S formation as well. Okay, so this is something that certainly is needs to be made aware of. You have this left shoulder. Obviously, we've got this bear flag for a potential right shoulder and a H&S formation lower. So that certainly needs to be taken into consideration as well. The FTSE 250 again is a bear flag scenario. We are reaching the upper channel of that resistance level. So again, exercise extreme caution in the FTSE 100 going forward. FTSE volatility index at the moment is still a bull flag scenario. So we have held at a support level, and we are looking for a potential move higher. So this is going to be interesting from that perspective. Okay. Now the volatility index, like I said, keep an eye out for that. Now the only thing that's worrying me with regards to FTSE itself is this potential topping tail on the FTSE all share. So that certainly isn't a good sign going forward. So again, my most important aspect will be the actual Nasdaq itself. Okay, folks. So I'm going to call it a wrap on this European insight and intraday of the CAC, the FTSE and the DAX. Hopefully watch out for the potential gap level, unfilled gap levels below, and we'll take it from there. Okay folks, so risk on, risk off, wax on, wax on. Goodbye.